Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Nicole. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at the Neat Company. Today, we're talking about sharing in Neat. So Neat has three awesome ways that you're able to share your account to some level. So we have file sharing, folder sharing, and account sharing capabilities. And each of these different options is designed to cater to different needs that you might have, whether it's sharing a specific single file with somebody or giving someone access to your entire Neat file cabinet. So I have a chart here, and this chart here really covers all of the various features that you get with each of these different sharing methods. And we're going to go over each of these different methods while I demonstrate them all for you within my Neat account as well. So we're going to come back to each one of these different sharing features, and we're going to talk about them in more depth. But I wanted to give you a quick overview of what that looks like. And so things don't get confusing moving forward, I want to clarify with you guys that throughout the rest of the webinar, I'm going to refer to you, the account owner, the person who needs to share files or folders or their account with somebody else as the owner or the account owner. And I'm going to refer to the user or the person you are sharing a file or folder or an account with as the user or as the additional user. And in some instances, I do refer to them as an email recipient. Ramona, yes, there is a handout. It's going to include that chart as well. I'm going to share that handout with you guys towards the end of the webinar once we get through all of the content and before we get into the Q&A section. So all of the stuff that you're seeing in these slides, you'll get access to in the handout at the end of this webinar. So first up, let's talk about file sharing. So there are several ways to share specific files from your Neat account with one or more people. The most simple and straightforward way to share a very specific file or files with someone is to just download or export your file out of Neat. And Neat gives you the ability to export your images out of Neat as PDF files. And it also gives you the ability to export your data as a CSV file or the data that you see in your grid as a CSV file. So I'm going to share my Neat account with you guys, and we're just going to take a look at those two things real quick. Again, super simple, straightforward way of sharing a specific file out of Neat would be to download that file as either a PDF file or a CSV file, and then sharing it with whoever you need to share it with via whatever method you need to share them with, whether that's via email or uploading it to some other, storage solution or something like that. This is how you would be able to do that. So first we're going to look at exporting your file as like a PDF file. There are three ways that you can export a file as a PDF file. And we have like this, let's see, I have a document in here. Let me filter to my document, I think. Oh, let me actually go into my webinar folder here for this. Here we go, that's better. And let's do item type, here we go. So I have this manual here. I can export this manual out to share it with someone else by clicking on the image icon here under the image column. When you click on this image icon, it actually opens up a preview of your image. This image preview is available for all of your files, and it's there so that you don't have to open each one of your files to see what that file is. The image preview allows you to quickly view that file without opening it, so that if you're looking at a bunch of similar files, you don't have to open each to find what you're looking for. So from the image preview window, I can download this image just by clicking the download button here. And when I do click that, it's going to download this file as a PDF to my local downloads folder. So that's one way I could download an image as a PDF file specifically. Another way that I can do it is by selecting a file that I want to export to PDF, and then I can choose export down here and choose image as a PDF file. And here's where you can also see I can export this data as a CSV file. The benefit to that is when you export your data as a CSV file, all of the data here that you see associated with your file, including all of these details here, all of the notes, any additional information that you have associated with your file in your grid columns will be exported as a CSV file that you could then upload to Excel or Google Docs and then, manipulate using Google Docs or Excel formulas. And then the very last way that you can download an image as a PDF file from Neat is by opening a file. And then you can actually just click this download button up here to the top right-hand corner above your file image. And that's another location where you can just download your file as a PDF file to your computer hard drive. Again, I can also export this data to CSV within the file itself by clicking the export button here and choosing data as CSV from the bar down here at the bottom. So those are, three different ways that you can export your file as PDFs and two different ways that you can export your files as CSV files. So a really simple way of sharing files with another user. Going back to our slides here. So another way that you can share specific files with someone else is to email them directly out of Neat to your desired recipient as a PDF file. So Neat does give you the ability to share files directly from within Neat. You don't have to download your files to PDF to email them out to other users. Emailing a file this way is another super simple and straightforward way of sharing a file with someone else. It doesn't require that the person you're sharing the file with has, access to your account. They don't need additional logins. You don't need additional features on your account or anything. You'll, as long as you have the Neat base or the automated insights plan, you'll be able to just email files directly out of Neat as PDF files. And you can also email files out of both the Neat web application and the Neat mobile application as well. So if you're using Neat primarily on a mobile device, then you can also email files directly from there as PDF files also. We're going to hop back over into Neat, and I'm just going to show you the different experiences. We're going to take a look first at the owner's experience, so what your experience is like when you share a file via email with another user. And then we're going to take a look at the user's perspective and see what it's like when you share a file with them. If I needed to email this file out to a user, I can right-click on my file, and I can choose Email from here. So that's one way that you can access emailing a file out from Neat. Another way that you can do it is you can select a file, putting a check mark next to it, and choose Send to, and then email from the bottom here. So that's another way you can access emails. And then lastly, we like to give you a multitude of different flavors for how you can access different functionality within the app, depending on what you're currently doing and what your needs might be. So you can also send files directly to another email from within the image view itself. And you can actually click Send to down here and select email. No matter which way you access email, when you select it, you're going to be brought to this window where you're able to enter one or more email addresses to share your file with. And again, it's going to share your file as a PDF file with these users that you're sharing with. So I could go ahead and I can enter an email address here. I think I have gmail.com. So I can, I can add a subject. I can add a personal message. If I need to. I can also add additional email addresses as well. So if I needed to share this with more than one person at a time, I could add additional email addresses here. Whenever you're emailing a file out, you can email your file out to up to 6 recipients at a time. There is a limit to how many you can email out at a time. That is for security purposes. So if you needed to email it out to more than 6 users, you would just fill in these email addresses and then resend the email again to whatever additional addresses you needed to add. I'm going to remove these because I only have one email address that I want to share this with, and then I'll select Send Email. And then you'll get this message that your email was sent successfully. So that's what your experience is as the account owner whenever you whenever you email a file to another person. Now, from your perspective, from the owner's perspective, Neat doesn't log when you email a file out to a user. So there is no log here that's going to tell you who you've previously emailed this file to, which email addresses you've emailed this file to, what date and times those emails occurred. You won't have access to anything like that. Neat just allows you to send the email, but it's not actually logging the email for you to be able to access later. So that is the owner experience. Now we're going to switch over and we're going to take a look at what the user experience is like, what it's like when you share a file with someone else, what they experience. So here's the file that I just shared with this email address. And your user is going to receive an email from noreply@neatcloud.com. All emails that come out of Neat come from this noreply@neatcloud.com email address. Now, something that I do notice and a tip that I have for you is that emails that come from a no reply email address can tend to end up in a user's spam folder. And the reason for that is because various email providers and email users have a variety of different spam settings and preferences. And so email coming from no reply, might trigger someone's spam settings, and it might send the email that you sent them to their spam folder instead. A tip that I have for you is that whenever you send an email out to a new person that you've never shared a Neat file with before, that you just give them that heads up that, hey, you're going to receive this email from noreply@neatcloud.com. You can also let that person know that they can prevent emails coming from Neat from going to their spam folder by making a quick change to their spam settings. So for example, if the no reply at neatcloud.com email ended up in their spam folder, what you could direct them to do is have them mark that email as not spam. So currently I'm in a Gmail account, but all email providers offer some service like this that allows you to identify whether or not an email is or is not spam. In the Gmail instance, I can right-click on files in my spam folder, and I can choose to mark them as not spam. And when I choose to mark them as not spam, they're going to always end up in my inbox instead. And so by doing that, by marking an email that came from noreply@neatcloud.com as not spam, then all emails moving forward coming from that email location will end up in your user's inbox. So if they're having trouble accessing emails or they're ending up in the spam folder, you can let them know that. And they will, moving forward, they'll be able to see the emails coming straight to their inbox. Our handout does include tips and details about how to do that. So you can look forward to the handout for that. Now, let's take a look at the email itself. We can see here that here's my personalized message. Hey, this is the file that we talked about. This is the subject that was provided. And then we have the file here. Whenever you email a file to someone else, it's going to be emailed as a link that the user can then click, and it will download that file as a PDF file to their computer hard drive. Now, if I click this, you guys aren't going to actually see anything because of the way that I'm sharing my account right now. But basically what I'm seeing is that a file was just added to my downloads folder. And I can see that the name of that file is Solar Light Manual.pdf, because that's the name of the vendor that was associated with the file that I shared with this email address. So that's how your users will be able to access files if you email them out of Neat. Now, these links that you send out do expire within 1 week, and that is for security purposes. We don't want you to be able to share an email or share a file with a a user and for them to be able to access that file months from now or years from now. Really, that link will only work for the next week. Now, obviously, once they download the file and it's on their computer hard drive, they can access the file on their computer hard drive as often as they'd like. However, they won't be able to re-download that file at any point in time in the future once this link expires. So that is one way, or that's how you can email out one file. You can, however, email multiple files out of Neat as well. So we're going to hop back into Neat real quick. You guys should be seeing my Neat account. Perfect. If you have multiple files that you need to email out of Neat, you can select multiple files. So we'll send these, I don't know, these 3 files out, maybe this one as well. And then I can click send to down here and I can click email and then I can add my email address. And I could add a personalized message if I needed to. We'll just say these are 4 files and then I will email items. Again, I'll get this confirmation message that my email was sent successfully. And if I hop back over into my email account now, just hop back into that tab. Let me double check that you guys can see that. Yep. So you guys can see this is the new files that I just shared with this email address. And here they are. So the difference is that when you share multiple files via this method, you get multiple links associated with each of the files that you emailed out. We can still see my personalized message here. And then as the user, as someone who you shared files with, I can click on these links to download these files directly to my computer. And then just like with sharing one file, these links will expire within 1 week to make sure that users cannot continuously access your files after they've been shared. So that's how you can go about sharing one or more files with one or more people in Neat via email. The emailing feature is really great when you need to share files with somebody specifically, but you don't need to give them any edit access or access to your account in any sort of way. They just need access to a few files here or there. So that is emailing. Let's hop back into our slides. Now we're going to move on to the next. So now we're going to take a look at folder sharing. So folder sharing allows you to share an entire folder, that specific folder's contents, and any subfolders contained within that main folder with one or more people. And in this instance, each user that you share a folder with will have to create or will need to have their own Neat login credentials to be able to access your folders. So in this instance, these users need to have their own registered Neat account to log into. Now, those users do not have to pay for to have an active Neat Cloud subscription if you're just sharing folders or your account with them. They can create a free account that will allow them to get access to the folders that you shared with them. However, they all need to create their own login credentials. So that way you don't have to share your login credentials with anybody in order for them to be able to access a specific set of folders. Folder sharing will give your user view-only access to that specific folder and its subfolders that you've shared with them. So again, it's view-only access when you're doing folder sharing. Your user will be able to view any files in that specified folder. They'll be able to comment on any files within that specified folder to be able to collaborate. And they'll also be able to download any files from those shared folders as well. Folder sharing is really beneficial when you need someone to be able to access a specific group of files in your account fairly often, but you don't want them to have any ability to edit or make any changes to your files. You just need them to be able to access and download and maybe comment on those files. So again, just like with emailing, we're going to go through what your experience, the owner experience is like, and then we're going to take a look at what your user would experience when you share a folder with them. So from the owner's perspective, from your perspective, let's say, for example, I want to share this webinar folder with someone. My webinar folder has a lot of subfolders, as you can see, and it even has subfolders within subfolders within subfolders in it as well. So lots of things that I could share with somebody if I shared this main webinar folder with them. Now, to access folder sharing, you would want to go to the folder that you want to share with a user. You can right click on it and you can choose share. Now, unlike emailing files in Neat, where there's like a variety of different access points to be able to email a file out, there's really only one place to access folder sharing. And that is by right clicking on the folder that you need to access share capabilities for. So I'm going to right click on web folder and choose share. And I'm brought into this menu screen where I'm able to add, email addresses. I can add, again, up to 6 other email addresses here. To my knowledge, there is no limit to how many users you can share a specific folder with. So if you have, 50 people you need to share a folder with, it is capable of doing that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter my email address. And I can add a personalized message. And I can choose share. You do get a little note down here reminding you that you are providing view-only access to this folder or item. And I'll click share. Now, from a user perspective, from an owner perspective, once you share a folder with someone else, the icon here will update. And actually, let's see, will it update now after I've done this? Yeah, so what you'll see here is that the folder icon for any folder that you share with another user is quite different. Let me just give me one second here. So we'll see my webinar folder has this different icon that looks like 2 people, and that is our shared folder icon indicating that that folder and any subfolders has been shared with another user. Let me zoom back out a little bit. And if I right click on this folder again and I choose share, here's where I can manage my shared folder. So not only can I invite more people to this folder if I need to, but I can also access my members here as well. And I can see everybody who I've previously shared this folder with, and I can choose to revoke access to anybody I need to revoke access to as well. If I had 50 or more email addresses here, there is the revoke all option that allows you to revoke access to everyone you've previously given access to as well. So for your perspective, this is how you'd be able to share and then manage those shared folder users. Now let's take a look again at the user experience, the person who you've shared a folder with. I'm going to hop back over into my email account here. We're going to share this tab instead. Let me just make sure you guys are seeing that. Perfect. So here is the email that I received. We can see I got my personalized message, and we can see there's a link here to access that folder. So if I click this link to access the folder that's been shared with me, what's going to happen is I'm going to actually be brought to a login screen instead. And again, the reason for that is because whenever you share a folder with another user, again, they need to have their own login credentials to be able to log in and access your folder structure. Again, if they don't have a Neat account, they can create a free Neat account that will allow them to access your folders for as long as you give them access to your folders. And they don't need to purchase a Neat subscription to be able to do that. So I could go ahead and I can log into the account that I shared this with. I think it's this one. And I can click accept to accept that folder share with me. So not only are you giving authorization by sharing a folder with someone, that person has to accept the folder share as well by going through this initial login process. And those links from the emails that you're sharing your folders with, expire in 2 weeks. So when you share a folder with another user, they have 2 weeks essentially to access the email that you shared with them and then access that folder to gain and accept that access. Once they accept the access, they'll be able to log in and access your folders for as long as you've given them access to. But the link in the original share email will only be active for 2 weeks. So they have to access it fairly soon. And again, that is for security purposes. We want to make sure that, a month from now, a year from now, you didn't accidentally share a folder with a user who's now trying to gain access to it when they shouldn't be. I'm going to click continue. And what I'm doing right now is I'm logging into this user account. So this is right now, this user account is on a free trial, which is why you're seeing some free trial messaging up at the top here. If I were a user who had access, had my own Neat account, I would be able to see my cabinet here to the left, and then I will have a separate section for all of the folders that have been shared with me. So this is where your user would be able to see the folders you've shared with them. They'll have this shared from section within their folder structure that allows them to access all of the different folders that have ever been shared with them. And if they've been, multiple accounts have shared folders with them, then they'll have a separate folder for each of the accounts that they've been shared or that have been shared to them as well. And we can see from this account, the NPodalivo account, this is my webinar folder that I shared with that user, all of the subfolders that were associated with this webinar folder, and the subfolders within the subfolders as well. So I get access to all of those things. Now, again, I have view-only access at this point in time. So if I were to, open up a item, I do not have any ability to edit any of the details here. I can't update categories or amounts or anything like that. I have no ability to, export or send this to someone else. I can switch over to comments. There's this comments section above your file image that allows you to add a comment. So I could collaborate this way by leaving a comment. And when I share my comments, that will be logged within the item itself. And I can have a conversation with the account owner through the comments here. Additionally, as a user with folder access, I can also download these images as well. So I can still download images to PDF files as well. I just can't edit, I can't rearrange your folder structure, and I can't access anything else within your account. I basically get view-only access to the folder or group of folders that you shared with me. So let's move into our last sharing feature, which is account sharing. Okay. So account sharing allows you to share your entire file cabinet with someone. You can add up to 4 additional users to your account using this method. So the Neat Base Plan and the Neat Plus Automated Insights Plan and the VIP plans include those 4 additional users at no additional cost. So if you're on one of those plans, you have users you can add to your account. Each one of your additional users will, again, need to either already have their own login credentials, or they're going to need to create a free account to create their own login credentials to be able to access your account. Each user will also be able to access your entire file cabinet. They will be able to edit and download all of the files from your cabinet, run reports on files in your cabinet, and also comment on all of the files in your cabinet as well. Now, these users will not be able to access other sections of your account. For example, if you're on an automated insights plan, your additional users will not be able to access your transaction streaming features, and they will also not be able to access your invoicing features. These users will also not be able to access any of your Neat account settings. So they can't access your Neat account user profile to make any changes, or your account settings to make any changes, or your billing portal to make any changes to your actual Neat account. They will be restricted to your file cabinet section. And if they try to access other sections of the application, they'll get an error message that says they do not have authorization to view that section of the app. So again, just like we did with folder sharing and with email sharing, we are going to take a look at both what your experience as the owner would look like and what the user experience would be. Okay, so here's my shared folder. I'm actually going to revoke access to this account here just because I'm about to share my whole account with them. So I'm going to revoke access to that specific folder. Now, in order to share an account with someone else, similar to folder sharing, there's really only one access point for that. And the way to do that is to click on your name up at the top right-hand corner of Neat and choose Account Settings. Here you can scroll down to the user management section, and that's where you can invite additional users to your account. Again, you can add up to 4 additional users to your account at no additional cost on our Neat Base and Automated Insights plans. As you can see, I have a user here that I previously invited to my account, and this is where you'd also come to manage your users as well. So I can do things like revoke access to a user and edit or update my user's access. When I do that, I'm able to just edit things like the note, and the first and last name, and I can also invite. So we're going to invite that email address that I've been using for this whole demonstration, gmail.com, and we'll just say like new employee, and we'll click send. Once I send my invite over, we can see this user is sitting here in my user management, and there are different statuses that you'll notice associated with these. One of them is active, meaning that user has accessed the email invitation and has accepted my invitation to access my account. The other is in pending status, meaning that I've sent an email to them inviting them to my account, but they have not yet accessed it or accessed the link to accept that account share. So if you share your account with a user and they think they set everything up, but you're still seeing them as at a pending status, you can let them know that there's something didn't process correctly, and that they should re-access that link to try to get access to the account again. So again, that's what your experience is like. Let's switch back over and take a look at the user's perspective. We're going to share my email account again. So here we have the email invite to access the account. So Nicole Padaliva wants to give you access to their Neat account. Again, just like folder sharing, these links are good for only 2 weeks. So they will have to access these within a 2-week period in order to accept the account share invitation. I'm going to click this link here, and I'm brought to here. Again, once I click the link, I'm brought to a login page. And again, it's because I need to have my own login credentials to be able to access your account. I can enter my own login credentials if I already have a registered Neat account, whether it's active or not, to be able to accept that account share. I have an account that I'm going to log into. It's going to be NP. There we go. And we'll click accept. And again, I get this account share accepted message with all of the details about what I have access to. And then I'll click continue. Now, because I am a user with 2 active Neat accounts right now, when I log into my account, and I've had an account shared with me, I'm actually going to see multiple different accounts that I can log into now. I can log into my account, the account that I own that's currently on a trial, or I can log into the account that's been shared with me. So I'm going to open that account instead. And here what I can see is it looks exactly like the account that we were just looking at, and that's because I'm essentially in that account. I can see the entire folder structure here. So I can see the webinar folder, these 2024 folders, the business and personal folders here as well. I can go in and I can access and edit these files as well. So if I click on a file, we can see I do have the ability to edit all of these files. I have access to all of these features in my bar down here at the bottom. I can still comment and collaborate if I need to. I can also download all of these files. I can export these files. I can rearrange the folder structure if I need to. So as a user with account access, or when I've had an account shared with me, I basically have full access to be able to manage that entire file cabinet. Again, sections I do not have access to, or I can't access the account and transaction section. That feature can only be accessed by the account owner or you. And I can't access the invoices section either. It can only be accessed by the account owner. Additionally, when I click on the drop down up here at the top right-hand corner, you'll see that my options are limited. While I can manage your lists, so I can, I do have access to that. You'll notice I don't have any access to account settings or anything like that, or billing settings. I can only access my user profile. An additional thing that you'll see too is if you have access to more than one Neat account, you can also change accounts here as well. So here I can switch between the account that I own or the account that's currently on a trial and the account that's been shared with me as well as the user. And you'll see that when you change accounts, you can see which account you own and which account you're a user of. And, that is it. That's essentially what the account sharing features offer you within Neat. Let me take a look and see what type of account sharing feature questions have come in. And we're actually going to move into a Q&A section right now with the rest of our time, where I'm just going to try to answer as many questions as I can, or as many questions that come in. Before I start on that, I am going to share with you guys a handout now in case anybody needs, access to that immediately. There is a handout I'm sharing with you guys now that includes all of the slides that we went through earlier. So it's a great handout to share with users that you need to share your account with. So if you need to give someone access to your account via account sharing, I recommend sending the handout to them as well, because it gives them, instructions on how they can, from a user perspective, access your account and all of the details that they need, including some of those tips around, getting emails to show up in your inbox versus spam. But now we're going to move into the Q&A portion. So let's see. What kind of questions haven't been asked yet? Okay, so Lee says, can a user add or delete file and folders as well as edit files and folders in account sharing? Lee, yes, they can. They will be able to create new folders in the folder structure. They can also create new files and upload files to the account as well. So account sharing is perfect if you have users who are out in the field, maybe they're visiting clients' houses, or, maybe for family members who are out and about, they can be accessing your Neat account via their mobile application because they have their own login credentials, so they can access your account. And they can be uploading things on mobile or on, another computer or on the web app, and they, can be adding and editing files all at the same time. And the great thing is, because Neat is a cloud-based solution, regardless of how many different instances of Neat you have open, whether it's on mobile or web or on your computer, all of those instances will update immediately. So any changes that one of your users makes, you will see immediately, and vice versa. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Brian says, is there a way to grant upload-only access for an account? We have employees we want to enable receipt uploads to the account, but don't want them to have access to manage folder structures, data, etc. George actually provided a really great workaround, Brian. The best option for those employees, and I didn't even think about this, George, great idea, is the Neat Cloud email and address. So you could give your users you could let your users know what your Neat Cloud email and address is, and you can actually access your Neat Cloud email and address. Am I sharing this tab? Let me share this tab instead. And I probably need to log back into this account. Oh, no, cool. You can access your email or your Neat Cloud email address by going to user profile and scrolling down to Neat Cloud email and address. Here, you can actually have your employees forward or send files directly to that Neat Cloud email and address, where you wouldn't have to give them access to your account. They would just, those files would be uploaded directly to your needs review filter. So that is another good workaround. Let's see. Olympo says, if you've hired someone to download 1,000 receipts, can I share to have her do this? Yeah, you could share Olimpo. You could either share a specific folder if the folder has 1,000 files in it, or you can share your account. And either way, that your user or your employee would be able to download files to PDF that way. Brian says, we sometimes have trouble seeing items uploaded by another user or all items uploaded by all users seen by others immediately. Brian, they should be. Typically, what I recommend is that, if you have multiple instances of Neat running, there clearly could be some delayed caching issues. For example, if you have an employee who's using the mobile application, they're using it mobily, they might have a spotty internet connection. When they upload a file, it could take a little bit longer for someone who is logged in on the web application somewhere else to see that specific file. What can be done is, you can refresh Neat, before making changes by just clicking the refresh button at the, in your browser, and refreshing your account will always show you the most up-to-date version of it. But typically, changes that are made to the account are seen instantaneously across all different instances of Neat that are open. If you're having a different experience, or if you're having trouble with that, be interested in maybe having you connect with someone in the support team just to see if, what your specific, experience is like, are these users uploading files from the mobile app or from, a place with a stable internet connection? How many different instances are open and things like that, but they should, pretty be instantaneously. Kathy says, is there a difference if you're using an Apple Mac version? And Kathy, for these specific features, no, there's not. It's the same exact experience for Mac and Windows users when it comes to emailing files out of Neat, exporting files out of Neat, folder sharing, and account sharing. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see, what other types of questions? Brian, I'm glad we could provide you some workarounds there. Carl asks, he says, hey, I'm really sorry. I missed some of the webinar. Is there any way I can get individual help? Carl, it's a great question. I love that question. Let me pull up my Neat account again. Where am I sharing my Neat account? Oh, here it is. So Carl, if you need additional help, you can always access more help by clicking help and support at the bottom left-hand corner here. And then you'll have all of your help and support options here. You can access announcements of, recent updates in Neat. You can access our help center that has hundreds of help center articles in it that George and myself have written. You can also access our support ticketing system, which will allow you to open an email to send to our support staff. You can chat with us real time. Chat is available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. And then lastly, if you have a VIP service plan, you can also schedule a one-on-one session with a Neat expert who you can ask specific questions to about your specific use case. So if you need additional help, that's the perfect place to go. Let's see, let me finish answering that. Let's see what other types of questions have come in. Ramona says, hey, if I've just started using Neat, is there a training video? Ramona, I'm going to point you to our webinar library. Let me pull open that tab real quick and I will show it to you. So the webinar library has a ton of stuff that you can access. We've been running webinars now for almost a year. It's going to be a year, I think, in July. And our webinar library you can access by going to neat.com/webinars, or just going to neat.com and scrolling to the bottom and choosing webinars in the resources section. And here you have a couple different things. You have some getting started videos. So if you have a specific plan that you're getting started with, like our base plan or automated insights, you have a different video for each. And these are shorter segment videos that really cover high level getting started, what the benefits are, a tour of Neat, and what our recommended getting started steps are. You also have these webinar snippets. These are smaller little clips of larger webinars that we did where we're focusing on specific features or topics within the snippet. So bulk editing, if you want to learn how to bulk edit, or if you're interested in learning more about how to utilize your Neat Cloud email address, or another beginner topic of like understanding the anatomy of a Neat file and what makes up the parts of a Neat file, you have these snippets here. I saw someone mentioning list management earlier today in the webinar. If that was you, I absolutely recommend this on-demand snippet called Managing Your Drop-Down Lists. This will teach you how to remove misspelled items in your lists or unwanted items from your list, which is a common question we have. And then lastly, you have all of these other replay webinars that are available here that go over a variety of topics. Some getting started webinars I can recommend to you are the Beginner's Guide to File Organization, File Management, and Neat, and then also using Neat to declutter and get organized. That webinar specifically goes over the 4 main ways you can get files into Neat, including email in, scanning, mobile capture, and importing. So that's a great webinar also to take a look at. But these are all available on demand except for these 2 up at the top. These are upcoming or future webinars, but the rest of them you can access on demand at any point in time that you'd like. You could watch them multiple times if you'd like to as well. So all of those video resources are here. Hopefully that answers your question. Yep, Becca was asking about managing my lists. Becca, definitely recommend that managing drop-down lists webinar or little snippet. It's only 11 minutes long. It goes through adding, editing, merging, and deleting stuff from your lists. It's a great resource. It looks like that is it. It looks like those are all of the questions in relation to account sharing or folder sharing or email sharing. So I think that is where I will wrap for the day. I shared the handout with you guys earlier. I'm going to share one last thing with you guys right now, which is just a quick survey. So we like to send these surveys out with each one of our webinars. It's a survey that allows you to just tell us how we did. You can let us know if you like this webinar, if there's other types of topics that you want to see us cover. If there are still questions that you have, you can include them in the survey as well. Your survey feedback really helps us to, enhance these webinars and cover topics that you guys really find interesting or want to learn more about. So any feedback you can provide through that survey is greatly appreciated. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. We're going to wrap it up. A big thank you to all of you for joining me today, spending an hour with me to go over file, folder, and account sharing. Definitely keep an eye out on the webinar library for any new upcoming webinars. We're running a webinar pretty much every week for the rest of the year, so you can always check in and see if there's anything new going on. And I wish you guys all a fantastic rest of your day. Take care and bye for now.